Go on then, ask what it is.
Karl,
Yes.
what are you drinking?
This is green tea, lemon and cucumber, because I need it because I'm fat and I need to go to the gym. It's my health drink. I'm sorry if it looks like piss. Let's talk about the world's end. The World's End is the spiritual end to what many colloquially refer to as the Cornetto trilogy, a series of 3 films connected by 3 people. The actors, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, as well as director Edgar Wright. Known for their kinetic visual style and Wright's masterful, almost John Wick-esque use of the Chekhov's gun, the film is crammed full of blinking you'd miss them details. How did I get that a bit right and then forgot the word detail? You know what? Leave that a bit in. Details, such as a bunch of cars in the background that give away the film's twist.
For the people who've not seen World's End,
Yes.
what is it about?
Well, it's similar to the other 2 films in the Cornetto trilogy, you know, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, in that it's a send-up to a specific genre. In this case, science fiction, whereas Shaun of the Dead is obviously horror, and specifically zombie movies, and Hot Fuzz was like action movies, and buddy cop movies, specifically. And we've talked about the other 2 on the channel before, so this is, in a way, the end of the Cornetto trilogy of Fact Fiend, so yeah! So like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead before it, the World's End is filled to the brim with references, some subtle, some not so much, to previous films in the genre that helped inspire it, in addition to a number of details that also reveal like the film's entire fucking plot, which we're going to discuss now.
But before we get into that,
Yes.
we need to know the plot of the film itself.
Yeah, so we can like discuss why this plot is then revealed by subtle details in the film. So the plot is a bunch of old friends meet up and go out and get rat-arsed, which is British slang for getting all kinds of fucked up on booze. And I love that particular aspect of like, you know, British slang, where we have so many euphemisms for getting pissed and having sex. So let's focus in on getting pissed right now, because there are so many just like ways you can say it. I'm going to get like rat-ass is one of my favourite. Would you have any ones that you like to say? Because like obviously the sesh, which we know, you know that your boyfriend loves the sesh so much that if you just type in our group chat sesh question mark, he just responds yes.
Yeah.
So you got any favourites?
Hammered.
Oh man, getting
Just
hammered.
imagine someone getting hammered, like just with an actual hammer.
The one that I like is just annihilated. I've had some nights where that would be an apt descriptor of what took place. Like, what happened last night? I got fucking annihilated, mate.
I saw something online that I think someone did a post where they said you could literally use any word to describe getting drunk.
As long as, yeah, that's the one. It's, I forget which comedian said it, but it's a similar thing for boobs, where if you say it while doing this, anything can mean boobs. And the example he used, oh man, check out those Lamborghinis. And we could do that, but let's focus in on the real ones people use. Because I quite like getting merry.
Well, I quite like getting sloshed.
The thing is though, right, although all of these mean the same thing, there's subtle differences between them. Like getting merry, in my head is you go out for 1 or 2 pints and you have a laugh. Getting sloshed is like it's a really dirty pub crawl where you just end up at the end of a night and you are just sat on that bog, with just like your head in your kebab, just like that.
Now we know the plot of the film.
Yeah, with the very basic plot.
What are these like hidden details that we tend to miss?
Yeah, well, I'll reveal the entire plot of the film itself. Well, let's start with the pubs themselves, because the pub crawl that the characters go on starts, funnily enough, in the first post and ends in the World's End. And those are a bit on the nose, so let's focus in on the other pubs they visit, the signage of which you might not have realised actually had a hidden meaning. So you watched the film recently, which is why I'm doing this video today. So is there any pub names that you like remember off the top of your head? And I can explain like what the hidden meaning behind them is.
Well, the first one off the top of my head is the Trusty Servant.
Oh yeah, well the trusty servant just so happens to be, like, you know, staffed by a guy who is happily working for the aliens. Obviously he is a trusty servant of the aliens, and that's the reference there. Is there any other ones?
The Famous Cop.
That's a good one. I like that. I like the famous cop. That's the one where, like, you know, Gary King, main character Simon Pegg, walks in and is recognised on the wall for being a dickhead. He is a famous cop.
Gary King.
Speak for yourself, mate.
You're bad.
And every single pub name is something similar. I'm sure you can put like a little fact bar below explaining the meaning of some of the others, so we don't have to, like, you know, just do this for the next 5 minutes. But I have had friends in real life tell me, it's like, you remind me a lot of Simon Pegg's, like, you know, character in that film because you never grew up. And like, the point of his character is that he never grew up because he's depressed. I never grew up because I like just the life that I have. I don't want to settle down and buy a house. I like living in my little flat and playing video games. So the point is, he's just so depressed he can never recapture that moment from his youth. And like, you know what? 18-year-old me was a dickhead. I don't want to go back. Like, I did not have, like, those house parties were a laugh, but I won't go back. But they are fun to tell stories about. So in that vein, have you got any good house party stories? Because I have told many on this channel, and you're relatively new here, Nisha, so you've got to dip your toes in. Embarrassing story time is a go.
First house party where I met you.
Oh, here we go. I won't remember this. I was drunk at the time.
Yeah, you were wearing that orange morph suit.
Oh, can we put that picture in? Yeah. People need to see that I borrowed a morph suit off a mate who collected morph suits. And this is really the closest we're ever going to get to the green morph suit, which is, and I am so thin in the photo, I look like a fucking, like, horror monster, because I'm like, and I'm wearing my work uniform over it.
Bearing in mind, this is the first time I met you, and you arrived wearing that, so I had no idea what you looked like.
I'm just this really tall, gangly man in the corner with a bright orange face. It's great.
But the main part of the night that I remember is falling down the stairs.
Man, you had a lot of parties in that house, if I remember. Did you have, like, a Pokemon one?
Yeah, that was for someone's 21st birthday.
Was that, because I was at that, but then I had to leave like halfway through because I was at work.
Yeah, I don't remember you being there.
Yeah, I don't remember working much, to be fair. But I turned up like the first half hour and just left. And I was like so upset because everyone was like getting mad hype. I'm like, I'm really sorry, I've got to go to work. I've got to go earn £6 an hour just picking up glasses and cleaning a fucking toilet. Before we move on from the pubs though, another subtle thing people may not have noticed about them is that all the pubs are numbered. Obviously, the first post, the first one they visit, the World's End is the last one. And in every pub they visit, there is a background element of the scenery that reveals which number it is. Some examples of which are now, appearing behind me. And as a little game for everyone watching at home, here's a clip of one of the pubs, and it's up to you to try and spot where it was.
Now then, whose round is it?
It's mine.
Mr. Shepherd?
Is it Mr. Shepherd?
Why don't you kids join me?
Like, these details are fun, but they're nothing compared to the ones that just straight up ruin the fucking twist.
I'm on tenterhooks, Karl, tell me.
Yeah, people aren't going to know I made you say that one. Well, here's the one that I fucking love, and it's one that after I heard about it, I rewatched the film and went, holy shit, it's real, is that every character who has been assimilated by the aliens is wearing either blue or green. Every single one. And it's the way you can tell if someone is a blank or not, because they have got blue or green on their outfit. And obviously, you can put a clip in now of like the fight scene against the youths. Before they realise they're aliens, all of them are wearing blue or green outfits, like a blue hoodie or a green shirt or something like that. And there are elements of that throughout every character who has been assimilated. And that's the kind of thing that only Edgar Wright would have thought of it, because that guy is just a fucking genius when it comes to this shit. And we've discussed before how much we love this guy on the channel because of the little details he puts in. But have you got any personal favourites, Nisha, since you weren't in those videos?
Baby Driver, I just love, the intro sequence.
Yes.
Where he's getting coffee and stuff and he's listening to music, walking along the streets. The lyrics to the song he's listening to on the streets, like on the signpost.
That's a very
walls.
Edgar Wright thing.
It's so good, and I didn't notice that until I watched it a second time. And stuff.
In that film as well, if you watch it with headphones in, whenever the main character has just one of his headphones in, the music in your headphones will only play through that headphone. My favourite, because it's one that's so stupid, but it's hilarious when you realise what it means. It's that in Scott Pilgrim, when the titular Scott Pilgrim first meets Ramona Flowers, there's a light switch about 9 foot on the wall above them that no house would ever have, and it just looks really out of place. Do you know what that symbolises? That at that moment, Scott Pilgrim can't turn her on. It referenced, because obviously there's no way for him to reach it to turn it on, and it symbolises that. Because that's when he has that really awkward conversation with her and she's just like completely not interested.
So we mentioned earlier about cars being in the film. How do they ruin the twists?
Well, this is something I'm going to bet that nobody noticed on their first ever viewing of this film, and that is because every car in the background of almost every single scene is the exact same model, specifically a Vauxhall Ampera. However you do pronounce that, I don't care anyway, because that's not important. What's important is that car is a hybrid. So it's a combination of, like, you know, old fossil fuels and new electronics seamlessly blended together. And while every car is a different colour, they are all the exact same underneath, which is similar to the humans who've been assimilated, where they might look different on the surface, but they're all working towards the same unified goal and they're all the same inside.
If no one's going to notice this minor detail, what's the point?
Oh, that is the fact that no one's going to notice it at first is kind of the point, because obviously an underlying like theme throughout the film is that just like us, the viewer, the characters in the film don't notice that everything's the same, and it only dawns on them as, like, you know, things go on and it gets weirder and weirder that there's something amiss here, and they try and scrape away at that surface. And obviously Edgar Wright, being, like, you know, the kind of filmmaker he is who loves that kind of shit, thought, well, even though 99% of people aren't going to notice it on their first watch through, on a second watch through, it adds just that little bit of extra depth. And they can notice that, oh wow, everything about this town is the same. And I think another part of it is that there's going to be a number of people watching this right now who go, no, you're bullshitting, and they're going to go watch it to make sure. And that's just pretty good, I think, that you could make a film that you want to watch multiple times, and on each of those subsequent viewings, you get something new from it. Well, since a theme of today's video has been, like, you know, little details you'll miss on a first watching and will only notice in a subsequent viewing, let's talk about films that you can just watch over and over again for whatever reason. As people who watch the channel a lot might know, mine's RoboCop. I can watch, if RoboCop is on TV, I will watch RoboCop. And if someone asks me, Karl, do you want to watch some RoboCop? I'll be like, fucking too right, I want to watch some RoboCop. So to avoid me talking more about RoboCop, what's the film that you can just watch over and over again without, like, for just whatever reason?
One of my all-time favourites
is
How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, which one though, 1 or 2?
All 3.
All 3. Okay, well, it's not going to be 3, is it? The third one's good, but it's not as good as number 2, when it turns into Godzilla at the end. So, like, is there any moment more hype in a film than when, like, Toothless is frozen? You're like, oh no, Toothless, and he starts glowing with like the powerful sex dragon energy and explodes out, and you've got this dragon this big, and goes, oh, he's challenging the alpha. And he just fucking does it. And Toothless just goes Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and just starts fucking launching Kamehameha waves out of his mouth. Also, as well, you really like cats. Yeah. And you found out after the fact, oh yeah, fun fact for everyone at home, they motion captured Toothless and how he's running around by putting a plastic cape on a cat, and then film that and use it as motion reference, which is why Toothless acts so much like a cat. A film that I can watch over and over and over again. If we're talking about animated films, it's got to be Shrek 2. Similarly, because I like the music, but also because there's so much background detail in all those films. Yeah. So I love fairy tales. I had loads of fairy tale books as a kid. And I love just looking at the background and, like, the jokes they put in and the references to characters where they couldn't be too obvious about it because Disney might sue them. And as well, I think it has one of my just favourite visual gags in an animated film. And it's where, like, Mongo, the giant gingerbread man, just steals the Starbucks cup, and all the people run out and they run into a Starbucks across the streets.
Come on!
Another film I could watch over and over again would be Mean Girls.
Why Mean Girls?
It's just so funny.
It's just, okay, fair enough.
It's hilarious, and it's just the quotes.
Right, so drop some on me now. The people at home, they need you to drop some Mean Girls quote with the inflection that they have in the film. You need to do that sarcastic Valley Girl shit.
The one where they're getting candy canes.
Okay.
Glen Coco, 4 for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco.
I've only watched Mean Girls like once. And you know what? I might watch it again now to know what the fuck you're talking about.
Glen Coco, 4 for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco.